Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Let's see if my audio is working okay here. Sounds okay. Got Mike and Rachel in the chat. Hi there. Thanks for joining. Gaz rocking the Spectrum M.A.S.K. How you doing, Gaz? Zazel's here too. Thanks for dropping in, Zazel. And let's see here. There's a post from the loyal subjects teasing some mask stuff. So nothing is... oh, hi there, Jerome. Thanks for joining in. Does this sound okay? Let me know if my audio is okay. Mike is here too. Got some good brothers from the Patreon tribe here. So this was posted by the loyal subjects. They've got the license for folks who don't know. I didn't know until a few days ago. They got the license for M.A.S.K, and we don't know for sure yet. We'll know more at the New York Toy Fair that's coming up. But they posted this on their Facebook page, a couple of emojis, and speculation concerning what this means. So I think it's pretty obvious what some of them are. But I want to go through some of these today. And we don't know yet if they're... oh man, the comments are really flying in here. Retro Tinker, thanks for joining. Gunstar, another Patreon tribe member. Good to see you. Let's see. Brian, hi there. Thanks for the confirmation. So I just wanted to go through these things. We don't know yet if... oh boy. What does this mean? Zazel, can you let me know what this means? I'm kind of a novice for a lot of this streaming stuff. Like button activated, member for 5 months. Thank you, whatever that means. Commander Bly, thanks for dropping in. Boba Wave, good to see you. Lots of familiar faces here. I also noticed a new thing on the stream going here. There's a goal button now, so I'm kind of learning this on the fly. It lets me pick super chats with a timer. I don't know. Should I do that? Let's see. You can select a goal of 1 super chat. I don't do these for super chats, but it's always nice to get some super chats. 1 super chat up to 50 super chats. Timer of... I don't know. And then if you reach the goal, you can say what you're going to do. I don't know. Let me know if I should do that. Anyway, what are we doing here? I'm still waiting for Zazel's to let me know what this means. So I wanted to go through some of these emojis, and if the... let's see here. The first emoji is a big red truck, so I think it's pretty obvious that that would be this big red truck right here, Rhino. And what they have said is that they'll be in the spirit of the originals. Really nice thing is that the boxes are going to be like the originals. Oh, hi, Stephanie. Oh, I missed it. Welcome, Stephanie. And Ethereal Dragon. Hi there. Oh, thank you. What's this button do? That's a super chat. Wow. Thank you so much. You know, maybe I will enable this super chat thing. I don't know how many to put in here. I don't want to seem greedy, but it would be hilarious if it's 50. Let's I put 50. That's ridiculous. Go big or go home. What am I doing here? Chris, hello there. Thanks for joining. This makes me feel old. I've felt old for the last 20 years, brother. I like their bigger scale. So that's another thing. Thanks for the reminder. What I've read is they are going to be in the same scale as the originals. Sip a tea for the working man. So I would love it if they're just straight up reissues of the original ones, because one of the things I really love seeing is people who grew up on this stuff. I didn't grow up on M.A.S.K. I grabbed this stuff some years back when vintage toys were still really, really cheap. But I love seeing when people grew up on them and are able to get brand new mint condition reissues, since you can't really afford to get the originals anymore. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone getting hopefully reissues. If not reissues, then something like Origins, where it's heavily inspired by the original with a couple of upgrades. Joe, good to see you. So for the first one, Rhino, things to watch out for in case it's a straight up reissue or heavily inspired by it. And I've reviewed Rhino, I've reviewed Thunderhawk, Switchblade. I can't remember if I've reviewed Condor on this channel. But for Rhino, I'm just going to do these all in this stream to make it all one quick, easy place to reference. You got to watch out for these things. These are the most fragile things on the Rhino, and there's really no way to get at them. There's no like handle to grab them from the side. You're supposed to pull them out, and as far as I know, like, you got to just kind of squeeze it past that thing. So that's a braking hazard. That's a braking hazard in there. And they can go all the way down and up. But that's the part I think you got to watch out the most. And I don't know what the quality of these is going to be like. I've only had one Loyal Subjects, or a couple of Loyal Subjects products ever. A couple of years ago, Bandai sent me some of their little Loyal Subjects. What are they called? Game of Thrones figures. And they were nice quality for what they were. They're kind of like little Funko Pop style, cutesy looking figures, but the paint on them was nice. The quality was nice. I didn't look at them and go, wow, this is a bunch of crap. They seem really nicely made. So from that, my limited experience with Loyal Subjects, I think the property is in great hands. I think you're going to be paying through the nose for them, just like Super 7 with the G.I. Joe licensing. They just get charged so much to have that license that they pass the losings instead of the savings onto the customer. So it would be really crappy to get a big, expensive, super expensive licensed Rhino and then break it. So this is always getting lost on the old ones. Little spoiler. I think that's about it for Rhino. Yeah, just talking about pricing. Welcome, by the way, Alan, to the stream. They haven't said anything. We've got no details as of yet, but my prediction is they're going to be in about the same price range as Super 7 G.I. Joe figures are. So it's going to be very, very low bang for your buck. You're going to pay a lot. So it's just one of those things. You want to get a vintage Rhino for hundreds of dollars that's not in great condition, or do you want to get a mint condition Rhino for cheaper? Hopefully cheaper, hopefully not the same price. And this one is in pretty good condition, but if the price is right, I might get myself the new Loyal Subjects Rhino, because like the chrome on this Rhino is a little rough in some spots. It's not really shiny. Let me pick this camera up a little bit. It's kind of worn off here, and whenever you get a toy that has vintage chrome, metal vac chrome on it, and it's not perfect gleaming, shining, it's really noticeable. You can see the spots on the tank down here. Oh boy. Trying to keep up with all of these comments here. We had a lot of M.A.S.K, but I prefer Ramen Toys bigger scale. I thought Ramen did the same scale. Remember they did like a Thunderhawk, and it was the same size as the original Thunderhawk. And Transformer All-Star says, weird why Kenner doesn't re-release the toys. I mean, the company is still around with Hasbro. Plus, it was their toy line from the start. That's a great point. It's really strange that, like, and they did do the Ghostbusters reissues, right? They even have the brand name to do it under Kenner Classics, because the real Ghostbusters figures were released under the Kenner Classics line. So why would you do those figures and call it Kenner Classics and then like not give us M.A.S.K and Centurions? Maybe they just think M.A.S.K, they tested the waters a couple of times, and maybe they just thought it tanked. So they did that G.I. Joe Matt Tracker figure. They tried to do some M.A.S.K figures in a like a Comic-Con exclusive one time. They tried to bring it back in a crossover comic book, and I don't know, maybe they just feel like they gave it a few shots and there wasn't enough interest, and so they're passing it off, just like passing off the O-rings to Super 7. That might be all that's behind that. What's reasonable these days? They also did the gray white. Yes, the shark. Yeah, that's a big piece of unfinished business. If it's close to Super 7 pricing, at least it's not Ramen Toys pricing, which will be very good as well. Guess says reasonably priced. That won't make my wallet cry out in agony. Jada does some good stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. And Retro Tinker says, I've yet to pull the trigger on M.A.S.K, but it's only a matter of time. It's too cool to not have at least some in my collection. I feel the same way. I never felt like I needed to get all of them, but I can't imagine having like an 80s medley collection without M.A.S.K. M.A.S.K was one of the big, I like the obscure stuff that didn't do well, like Sectars and Bravestar. And to me, M.A.S.K is the king of the obscure stuff, because it was actually like somewhat successful. It was more successful than Cops, than Bravestar. It's like at the top of the heap of failed toy lines. So going back to that teaser, the second emoji that they showed was red sports car, and I think it's pretty obvious that it's this guy. It's Thunderhawk. It's one of the faces of M.A.S.K. So what to watch out for on Thunderhawk? It's not that fragile. Droopy wings. This happens to a lot of them, and you have to go in there and tighten a spring in there so that you don't get droopy wings. I think more than like tips or things to watch out for future owners is more like wishes, crossing my fingers that Loyal Subjects addresses certain things with the original Thunderhawk. I don't know if there's really much you can do about a droopy spring, but one thing they could do is fix this, because these side car blasters on so many Thunderhawks I've seen, I've got 2 of these myself. I like to have one in car mode and one flying, hanging from the top of a shelf. But on both of them, this is just falls out too easily. So some kind of mechanism that locks it in, or I don't know, magnetic something, in order to hold a little better, because it doesn't really work all that well. And then the other big thing is at the back here, the spoiler. Once you collapse the gull wings and you push this back in, check this out. It's never wanted to stay down. And the cool thing here is supposed to be, while this is down, it conceals the license plate that says M.A.S.K, but it won't stay down on either of the Thunderhawks I have, and on most Thunderhawks I've seen. Like, it won't go all the way down. It goes up a lot more when you press the button, but that's hopefully another thing they address. If they really want to give you the member berries, I love those member berries. I'll get to the comments in a second too, by the way. I'm falling behind here. But if it's all about member berries, and I love member berries, they're delicious and nutritious. You got to have those seat belts. You have to. So many vehicles didn't have seat belts. I just took a look at Gator for a video, and no seat belts on it. Someone in the comments mentioned he drove around in a real Renegade and there were no seat belts in it, so it's authentic. But Thunderhawk was one of the few toys of the 80s that had seat belts. Some G.I. Joe vehicles had them, but a lot of the early ones didn't. So you got to have those seat belts. And then for the actual figure that would come with Thunderhawk, it's Matte Tracker. I really hope they stick to the short masks and just put one of those stickers on it. It's probably going to be priced so high that children won't be able to afford it, and it won't be thought of as children's toys. The short masks were changed to longer masks with holes in them to avoid choking. It was considered a choking hazard, these tiny little things. But hopefully they go with the short masks instead of the long ones, the more show accurate looking ones. And my throat is drying out, so another sip of tea. Earl Grey today. Where am I in the comments here? Coffee Bibber says, I'm assuming these will be available online only, not retail. I don't know. That's hard to say. I'm surprised at every time I see Super 7 G.I. Joe stuff at like Toys R Us. And sometimes when I go over into Michigan, I see them at Target, and it's like, wow, this is supposed to be an online thing, right? But you never know where this stuff will show up. So again, I haven't heard anything where it's going to be available. But I'm actually starting to prefer online over shopping in stores. I'm really over the whole store thing. Like, just going to Walmart and it's always bare. There's never anything there. I love the convenience of, especially Big Bad Toy Store. This is not a paid promotion for Big Bad Toy Store. They were and still are my favorite online store, just because of their pile of loot system. I've got like 5 pre-orders or 5 things sitting in my pile of loot, and I could just sit there for like over a month and wait for another pre-order to come in to ship it all at the same time. There's not a lot of online retailers that'll do that for you so that you save on shipping. So I actually don't really care if they don't make it to retail, because that just means I don't have to compete with other people over them. Just grab them at Big Bad Toy Store or any other online retailer. I wanted the heli so much as a kid. Me too. Even when I wasn't into M.A.S.K, I just loved how the Switchblade looked. Still crossing my fingers for a Spiral Zone. I have never gotten into that show. I need to watch it sometime. Dan Gilvazan stars in Spiral Zone. Just jumping in the live stream. Hey, thanks for joining. Jerome says the only problem on M.A.S.K toys, they don't have any die-cast parts, so too fragile. Yeah, that's true, actually. I don't see any die-cast parts on any of these. All plastic. The diecast is nice. The weight it adds to Transformers is nice. There's drawbacks to it as well, though, because I mean, there's parts where diecast meets plastic, and you get looseness on some of those old Transformers. We don't know yet, but the New York Toy Fair is going to be. I'm guessing they're going to be bringing prototypes to that thing, so we'll know more there. And Snell's World says, cool thing about buying the Gullwing from Ramen Toys because they made bombs for the original Thunder. I think you mean Thunderhawk that came with it. That's cool. Yeah, the bombs are always getting lost. That's another thing. And I think those are original bombs in there. And I think in my other Thunderhawk, I got reproduction bombs because it's just plastic. I don't revere plastic. Some people, it has to be the original. Plastic is plastic. So it's nice to have the originals, you know. If I have a choice, probably go with the originals, but I'm not going to pay. Sometimes it's like $100 for a little tiny piece of plastic that you can get on Marauder Gun Runners for $1. I believe there's a Toy Ploy video that deals with fixing the bumper. Oh, that's thanks for the tip. Toy Ploy makes great videos and lots of great restoration videos on there. I have a M.A.S.K vehicle. What is the camper called? The one that splits open and then there's like a jet inside it. Slingshot, I think it's called. I bought that broken at a toy show in Kitchener, my hometown, and it was very cheap. It was funny. It was mint condition, but it was broken. So I'm looking at it, and it's like perfect. It was never touched. And I said, what's the deal here? This looks like it was never played with, never used. And he goes, yeah, it was brand new. It was broken out of the box. The owner said it never worked. So it's mint, but it's broken. It doesn't work. So he sold it to me for really cheap just because it was broken. And so I bought it, took it home, and it took me like a minute to fix it. It was a spring. It was a slipped spring. So I got it like a mint condition Slingshot for, I don't know, probably a quarter of the price I should have paid just because of a slipped spring. Oh, glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, Gator is a great vehicle. Really cool to bring it out to a pond a couple of years ago and get some pictures. It does not float, though. That was a surprising thing. The picture of the boat in the water, the two pictures I took, I had to get those fast because that thing is not actually built to float on water. It seeps in through the cracks. Hello, Toy Odyssey. Spiral Zone was another phenomenal 80s IP. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Micah, who was in the chat earlier, he sometimes sends me these cartoon intros, and I feel like he's been doing that for quite a while now, and he's still finding stuff I've never heard of. Like, how many 80s properties can there be out there that I still have never even heard of? Earl Grey tea, Earl Grey hot. Yes, absolutely. Captain Jean-Luc Picard is the only reason I drink Earl Grey tea. What is your favorite vehicle from the show? I always say that tastes change over the years, and something I love one year might not be my favorite the next, but I feel pretty consistently, I've been saying for probably since M.A.S.K started, my favorite is Rhino. I always got to go with Rhino. I love Thunderhawk. It's kind of the face of M.A.S.K, even though this is on the logo. But I just love this big red truck. It's so powerful looking and got some cool gimmicks on it. The chrome. Yeah, it's pretty epic. I love epic things, and Rhino, it doesn't get much more epic than Rhino. Oh, hi there. Rodimus Powered Toy Collector. Welcome. Ethereal Dragon has the motorcycle. All right, let's take a look at that one next. Hey, Vince, good to see you. So this is the third emoji is a green motorcycle, which is pretty obviously going to be Condor with Brad Turner. I'm surprised I can remember these names because I wasn't really that into Mask cartoon back then. But I remember some of these, I guess maybe from the history of video I did. Things to watch out for on Condor. Nothing really. It's pretty simple transformation that comes out. I guess just careful with the helicopter blades. I'm surprised there aren't more of these broken because this is very thin right here. The part, this is just plastic bending when you transform it. It's not on a hinge. It's not on a pin. It's just literally plastic bending. So I'm surprised a lot more of those aren't snapped. Hopefully, if it's kind of an Origins thing where they get a chance to upgrade a few parts, that'll be on a like a pin hinge type of thing instead of the way they have it right now. But other than that, it's not that fragile. And just like back in the day when there were different price points, if you couldn't afford Rhino, maybe you could get Thunderhawk. If you couldn't afford any of that, at least, skip a few G.I. Joes and you could get Condor. So same thing. If you're on a tight budget, you might be able to still, if you want something, you could still get Condor. Hey, the Mitch. Welcome. I've missed a couple of here. Sorry. Hey, Chuck. Missed them ages ago. I will sign on for fresh ones with luck in their original scale. Just jumping in now. I don't know why. Many Joe Haslabs here. Yeah, those Haslabs. Ouch. Yeah. They can really put a dent in the wallet. Okay, and the next emoji is a helicopter, a blue helicopter. I love how they got the colors right too. So blue helicopter is most likely, let's hike this camera up a little bit here, going to be Switchblade, the helicopter of Miles Mayhem. And there is a lot that they can fix and tweak here. Rhino is awesome. Absolutely. Let's get through a couple more comments here. I love the 18-wheeler cab. Yeah, that's Rhino. Are people looking for retro reissues or modern vehicles with retro feel? That's a good question. I honestly, I would prefer reissues with tiny upgrades. I like a straight up reissue where they found the old molds. I get it. That's cheaper than creating new molds. And plus that'll make a lot of people happy because it won't be any differences. But I just like some of the things they've improved on Origins, like that Stridor, the horse that can actually move its legs. Like that hands down is better than the vintage one. I never had the vintage one, but I can't help but think if I had the vintage and I saw the Origins Stridor, I'd still say that the Origins is better. So I'd like to see a couple of upgrades, but yeah, in the chat, if you want to share what you think, if you'd rather see straight up reissues or a couple of tweaks to make them a little bit better, maybe a little more durable. Given their gem was a brand new mold, but compatible with the original, I think we won't get the exact same as the 80s versions, but they will be close enough that we won't notice. Yeah, hopefully. I just had a thought. It's kind of like when they release an old show that we love from the 80s, but it's HD. When they remaster it and they upscale it to HD. That's kind of how I see stuff like Origins, and hopefully what they do with M.A.S.K. is give us the old one just in a higher resolution, which means not necessarily more detail, but just fix a few things, because they've had 30, 40 years to mull things over and say, oh, like the cool thing is that some of the people at Loyal Subjects most likely had some of these toys, and they're getting to design the new versions of toys they had as a kid. So, case in point, maybe one of the designers had Switchblade and remembered how touchy this thing can be. Like it's on a hair trigger, right? I didn't mean to do that. Let's see here. There's guns that pop out here on the feet. These guns right here pop out as part of the transformation. That swings around. I can't remember if... there we go. This button on the side right here makes the blade spin. So in terms of fragility, I know the cockpit, the canopy on mine was busted when I bought it. Maybe that's just going through this right now on the stream. That's something they can fix. This seems to collapse way too easily. Maybe if that locked into place a little bit better. These feet. Also, the canopy, which is a really nice red, but oh, I get it. Sorry. In jet mode, it's supposed to do that. There we go. Yeah. Even still, I feel like in jet mode, it should have some kind of landing gear or something. The canopy is really easily broken. It's just got two tiny little nubs that hold it in place, and one of the nubs was busted on mine already when I bought this. So it still holds in place, but it's very loose because that one nub is busted. And these things, these wings in the back, it doesn't take much to have them pop out. Maybe a little bit of a tweaked system to hold them in place. But that's Switchblade with Miles Mayhem. And then the final emoji is a ninja. It's a black masked ninja. So I'm not sure if they're referencing or teasing a vehicle or if it's just a masked emoji. And the toy line is called M.A.S.K. So that's why they use that. But I do have a pair of black M.A.S.K. vehicles here, which they might be hinting at. There's this Corvette and there's this truck. So since all the teases they've done so far are year one M.A.S.K. stuff, which was 1985. It's when Condor, Thunderhawk, Rhino, and Switchblade came out. This is also a year one, but I don't see them releasing this one. Would have thought we would have gotten Gator before this, or even Firecracker. So probably not that thing. This one is beautiful. Always wanted that one. Thanks again, Micah. But this is a later M.A.S.K. vehicle, so I'm thinking they would stick to year one before they get to year 2 or 3. So probably not that one either. The ninja emoji is most likely just like a mask emoji, and they weren't able to do a mask emoji because they are not one of my channel members. If you're one of my channel members, you can rock the Spectrum mask emoji in the chat while I go through some more chat messages here. Let's see here. These are kind of fun to just play with. Got a really nice smooth surface here just roll these back and forth. Chuck says, for me, retro reissues in this case, although would love to see kids have a shot at Target, however unlikely. What a bargain slingshot. Well done. Thanks. I just got lucky. And that's why I like even though Kitchener isn't really all that small a town anymore, it's smaller than Toronto. So there's still some great deals to find at those smaller towns. My Thunderhawk never had that IROC Z label. That's a label on the front there is custom. I got some reissue stickers, reproduction stickers a while back. Really beautiful. I think it was from the website Sticker Fixer. And I don't know if they still make them, but it's not that they just look nice, but there's a really beautiful texture on it. You might not be able to tell on this camera, but it's bumpy. It's like embossed. So these lines, I can feel them on there. Really beautiful job on these. It's almost like leathery vinyl feeling stickers. And one of the stickers that was included with that set was IROC Z. And I had to stick it right on there. Z28 on the side there. T-Hawk. Nothing screams 80s like an IROC Z. It's Thunderhawk and Jackhammer for me. That's what it was called. Thanks, Gaz. Yeah, this thing was called Jackhammer. Helicopter. You got the Thundercats and Condor. My brother got the Rhino and Helicopter. Thundercats. Thunderhawk. I think your voice to text is maybe making a mistake there. Used to play with Condor in the backyard all the time. This was always the one that would come with me on car trips. Yeah, small enough to fit in your pocket. Hope the loyal subjects update the driver's articulation. Well, let's take a look at the drivers, actually, now that you mention it. They're not 5, 7. 7 points of articulation. Head moves, arms, legs, and then a knee bend. So cool. It's such a tiny figure. What are these, like 2 inches? 2.5 inches? Have a knee bend in them. And they're surprisingly really, really good for the vehicles. I've never had an issue getting a driver or a pilot to sit in a M.A.S.K vehicle. Their hands just always seem to go where they're supposed to. There's just enough bend in their knees. Here's an example. Matt Tracker, his hands, they're not perfectly on the steering wheel, but I mean, they're really close. They're a lot closer than an O-ring G.I. Joe can get. Like, I mean, in 1982, first year without the swivel arm. Condor, Thunderhawk, Condor, and Rhino. That's cool. Blueberry says these toys were made to last because Kenner, yeah, they did. They did really care. Their instruction manuals always said we really do care, and they did. That's why they went out of business. It's true, though. It seems like the companies and the people that care the most are the ones that don't make the most money. They do it for love instead of for profit. Thunderhawk definitely was my favorite from the line. Also had Switchblade. Grandma made my Christmas that year. Oh, God bless her. Hey, Mindwipe. Good to see you. Really hope this does well enough that we get Wildcat, Bulldog, Iguana, Manta, and Stinger. Some later issues. How about Volcano? How about Volcano with the battery function intact? The big monster truck that can drive over all of this stuff right here. They're pricey, but they're dream projects. Like the Proton Pack. That's a dream project. I always wanted a Proton Pack, and I'd rather have a HasLab Proton Pack for a couple $100 than a custom made one, which, goes for thousands of dollars. Same with what other HasLabs? The Ecto, the new Ecto coming out is another dream thing, right? It's the ultimate Ecto, at least in that price range. Reissues, please. Okay, wow, I'm really far behind here. Mr. Quake says reissues. I'm going to try to burn through some of these comments here. I'm with you on the slight upgrades. Kerrigan Cooper, hello, welcome. Mr. Quake says, what if there was a Mask movie? I hope better casting. Yeah, I would love it if they just went total. I love corny and cheesy. If they went, what you remember those 80s Mask commercials where they actually had live action segments in the commercials? I would love it if it was just that. Like if they stopped trying to be so slick and grounded and instead just made it look like, at first glance, people might say cheesy, but think of Cobra Kai. When you're in it, when you're watching it for a while and immersed, it goes from cheesy to genuine. Great word I heard to describe Cobra Kai was genuine. And so I just feel like that look would really get you back to the 80s. Just a fun, carefree time where it's more about adventure than, all the heavy stuff that they do with properties these days. Or it goes from Knight Rider to Team Knight Rider. We need Mask and Transformers crossovers. Yeah, that would be interesting. There's your Optimus Prime right there. There's no G.I. Joe vehicles that seem perfect for Optimus Prime. People are just saying, well, Rolling Thunder, maybe. But, I mean, there's Optimus, right? Optimus as Rhino would make a lot of sense. Commander Bly, thank you so much. Once again, agreed reissues with some modern upgrades. Appreciate the super chat. What is the the super chat counter? Is it still at 0? At least it's making me laugh. Oh, did I just jump to the beginning of this? No. It's weird how Hasbro owns Kenner. They bought them out in the 90s. It's kind of like when WWE bought WCW. They got them for a steal, for a bargain, because they get all that intellectual property and those molds. 80s and 90s are the best. There's a lot of good stuff in the 90s too, especially the video games. 16-bit video games are my favorite. When I just want to sit down and chill and play some retro video games, I find myself going to Genesis and Super Nintendo a lot more than modern, like PlayStation. Don't forget to double up rotors and push them down. Right. Hey, Robert, vote on modern versions. Oh, that's another thing I didn't think about. The licensing. They're going to have to pay the licensing on this stuff. Like they'll have to pay Chevrolet to get the Camaro license and whatever truck this guy is. I don't think Switchblade is anything real. I think that's like a fictional helicopter jet. And this might not be a real motorcycle design, but these two definitely are, Thunderhawk and Rhino. Where are we here? 45 minutes in. Just need another sip of tea here. Hello, shoot. Rygar. I remember that video game. So cool. I had several of these as a kid. No longer have the vehicles, but still have a few characters. And there's hardcore fans that are really chomping at the bit for this, but I think what's also cool is the people who are just, like yourself, and you remember them as a kid, and hey, it'd be kind of cool to have a Thunderhawk, like not necessarily go all in on the whole line, but just have a piece or two from the old days. That's what I really like about reissues or close to reissues like Origins. Is it just people who are casual fans, casual toy collectors? You don't always have to be all in and all or nothing. All Hail Me with a nice little bird. Profile pic says, my brother used to have a car that had a small boat in the back. I think he used to have one. I think that's Gator you're talking about. Small boat in the back. Well, it had a boat inside. Was it an orange Jeep? That was Gator. And I used to have one. It was called Volcano. Yeah, Volcano was the big monster truck. I think everyone I knew had the green bike. Condor. Yeah, Condor was the affordable one. When you couldn't get any other mask toy, you could get Condor. Jackhammer. I'm so far behind on these. Spectrum on. Do you have the cab over Villain Diesel? No, I don't have that one. I'm actually looking forward to, if they keep going with the line, getting some of the mask vehicles I never got, like Outlaw. If Loyal Subjects did an Outlaw and it wasn't insane expensive, I'd pick up an Outlaw. And you know, it's exactly like Origins. Like, I always wanted a Scareglow for Masters of the Universe, but just too much money for what that is for me. And so I love that instead of paying $100 or hundreds of dollars, I should say, for Scareglow, I could just get one for 10 or 15 bucks for Origins. So same deal here. I'd love to get a brand new complete Outlaw. And Goliath would be awesome. That's another one I've always wanted, but it was a later release, very expensive. Just don't want to pay that much. Who drives the black car? Was that Manta? Jackhammer was, what was his name again? Cliff? Was this Cliff Dagger? I can't remember. Don't remember all the bad guys' names or their vehicle names. Oh, Nostalgic Dude. Hope you enjoyed it. That was a really fun one to do, and looking forward to doing the next one in the series. As excited as I am for Mask, I really hope it does well and someone remakes Starcom. Black Car is Raven. Ah, thank you. With Calhoun Burns. Want the drivers to have eyeballs and eyebrows. For people who don't know what he's talking about. Mask figures are... They don't... Oh, well, he's got sunglasses. All the figures to grab. Let's see here. Miles Mayhem is in here. One of the later... This might be the Outlaw Miles Mayhem figure. They got eyebrows. He's got a mustache. I'm not sure why this isn't focusing. But no eyeballs. Painted on eyeballs. Maybe. That's definitely one way they'll differentiate the originals from the new ones. And that's another thing I hadn't thought of. Sometimes the toy companies are concerned about new toys being passed off as vintage, so they'll make sure it's obvious what's vintage and what's brand new. So by painting the eyes on the figures, that's like a surefire giveaway that it's a new one. Looks like the new arms have more articulation. Ah, that's good for grabbing steering wheels. I always hope we see more Mask figures cross over to G.I. Joe after they release Matt Tracker. Yeah, I think they were testing the waters there. Those are great pocket figures. Can't wait for reissues. Rhino was my favorite. Gaz says, imagine if they had done crossovers with M.A.S.K like BA's Van. Oh, now you're talking. Yes. You know, we've gotten some of those crossovers, Transformers crossovers like the DeLorean and Knight Rider, but yeah, M.A.S.K and A-Team would be perfect because that's something BA would do to the van. Let's see if I'm picking the right button here. There we go. That's totally something BA would do to the A-Team van. Have that thing come out. And then he would probably do this too, actually, to the A-Team van for Murdoch to kick Murdoch out of it. It's one of the other gimmicks of the Rhino ejection seat. So you can get rid of your passenger if he's annoying you. Always regret getting that Sky Striker over the Proton Pack. Ooh, if I had to pick between the two, it's the Proton Pack all day. I actually did get the Sky Striker, and unfortunately it came broken. And so I just wanted the it was a piece of the body of the Sky Striker was broken, and like everything else was perfect. So I said, can you just send me like the body of the Sky Striker? Everything else is great, and the box was damaged too, but like the figures are all great. And they were like, no, you got to send everything back. And I was like, well, there's no guarantee I'll get good figures the second time, because a lot of people were saying the figures had a lot of issues. And so I just said, I'll just take a refund. So yeah, I ended up not getting one of the Sky Strikers. But if I had to choose, yeah, it'd be, for me, the Proton Pack, just because, like, for me, the Proton Pack is the ultimate movie weapon. I love that thing even more than lightsabers. Could be great to have a woman. Where are you, Vanessa or Gloria Baker? Like, loyal subjects should be doing their own shark. That's actually I'm surprised they didn't do that right in the first run of these things. Why not do Condor, Thunderhawk, Rhino, and Shark? Just so that, I mean, that's a huge piece of unfinished business. In the IDW comics, M.A.S.K was created to be anti-Transformers units. That's cool. It's a cool crossover. I've been saying for years that they need to cross over Transformers and Fast and the Furious. And then what comes out of that would be M.A.S.K. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Because Fast and the Furious is starting to get there. Like, it's gone from just street racing to the last Fast and the Furious movie I watched was more like James Bond than Fast and the Furious. It was crazy out there sci-fi action style stuff. Stephanie says, I would love to travel back to the 80s. Me too. I get to. Whenever I take a look at some of this stuff and do some of the videos on classic toys and games and movies, time travel is possible. You just have to care enough. Videos in the 80s were actually harder than games today, video games. Yeah, we didn't have save points. I love like playing retro games on emulators today, now that I can like just save my progress and don't have to start from the beginning. And yeah, it's a little more fun these days. I didn't follow the IDW comics fully, but always hope for a Hasbro verse mega crossover with G.I. Joe, Transformers, M.A.S.K, Gem, and possibly Inhumanoids. Yes, and robotics. Inhumanoids, that's the next one. So I feel like ever since I started the channel, I've been saying, where's M.A.S.K? And loyal subjects found it. And now I can start saying, where's Inhumanoids? Because that thing is that is deader than dirt. There's been nothing in Humanoids ever since it stopped, but it's still got a really passionate creative team behind it. Like Buzz Dixon just lights up anytime he talks about Inhumanoids. Flint Dille as well. I'd love to see more Inhumanoid stuff. Hopefully new toys will come out from M.A.S.K. It looks like that's exactly what's about to happen. Yeah, Raven. Totally agree with you on Volcano. I would also love it if we got M.A.S.K. comics from Skybound, just doing well with Transformers. And let me get through some more of these. Cliff Dagger, thanks for the confirmation. He's got an eye patch in there too, I believe, under his mask. Guten Tag, Guten Abend. Hello from Germany. M.A.S.K. was a big thing here in the 80s. Just looked it up. My brother had Firecracker. And oh, okay. Yeah, motorcycle in the back. Yeah, hooked up to the back. Air Raiders. I don't know if there's a huge demand for Air Raiders. That thing tanked hard when it first came out. And I can't say I've heard a lot of passionate Air Raiders fans demanding that the line be brought back. Visionaries, though, that's got a following. Those are really cool. Rock Lords, Supernaturals are cool too. Holograms on those are cool. Hope Dino Riders comes back. That's one I don't know much about, but I always hear people talking about that one. Did you pick up the Scorponok? I don't pick up much anymore. I'm out of space. I've got a couple of Scorponoks. I got the Earthrise Scorponok, which is amazing. I got the vintage, a reissue of the vintage Scorponok. That thing looks cool, but I don't feel the need to get everything that comes out. Release the M.A.S.K. Racing Team series. Yeah, the later stuff. I think Goliath was part of that, right? Did the villains ever get their own playset? I think the closest they came was Outlaw, which was the big truck. It was the flat nose. Was it called Cab Over? Truck with a trailer. And that was basically a playset. The trailer could open up. Jason says, I just found out about M.A.S.K. reissues. I'm all in. Well, let's see what the price is, because that could change a lot of people's opinion, actually. I mean, I was really excited for the Super 7 Thundercats layer until I saw the price and then went, whoa, I love the Thundercats layer, but not that much. I have a feeling we might get some crossovers. Everything today is about the crossovers. But luckily, like M.A.S.K. is something that is perfect for crossover. It really fits in easily with G.I. Joe. It fits in easily with Transformers. I wouldn't even be surprised to see this thing flying around Eternia. Going up against a Wind Raider or something like that. Yeah, M.A.S.K. is just cool. I have no memory of Calhoun in the cartoon, but apparently he was there from season 1, episode 49 to season 2. Yeah, in some of the later episodes. You crazy fool, get out of my van. Okay, almost caught up here on the comments. I'd love a Jace and the Wheeled Warriors crossover or just reissues. Make it happen, loyal subjects. Yeah, they're if they do a good job with M.A.S.K, they're going to be getting lots of requests for some other stuff. Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. Hey, if the Visionaries, if Loyal Subjects brings back Visionaries, this could be their thing, actually. They do well with M.A.S.K. Maybe they could do Visionaries and Humanoids. I'm just going to throw this out there. I did. I never got around to making the second part of it, but I did the first part of the unproduced Visionaries toys, and I wrote a ton of poems in that thing for the figures that never got released, for their like magical totems and stuff. So if Loyal Subjects actually does do new Visionaries, if you need some poetry, feel free. Well, don't feel free to steal my poems, but like feel free to contact me and we can talk. Because that was actually Visionaries. Lanny Poffo, the wrestler, and Lawrence Gowan, singer from Toronto. Those were the three things that really influenced my love of rhyming. All three of them so beautifully poetic. It really taught me that poetry can be just this beautiful painting, tapestry of words. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for Visionaries because not only were the toys cool, but those poems were so beautiful. Sheathe these legs in the driving gale, make swift these legs o'er land I sail, or something like that. A whim, a thought, and more aside, awake my mind, thy will be wrought. It's just beautiful. Like, it's totally beyond just children's programming. Love Masked says tighten the heel. Epidelic, I'd be down for Visionaries and Supernaturals. They were great back in the day. You could even cross them over, combine them into one brand, although Supernaturals was Tonka. So I don't know where the rights for those are. I don't know if you could actually combine them. Dragonfly Z could be the decent with modern styling. Let's see here. And my husky is saying, hey, it's time for my second walk of the day. So I'll be wrapping up shortly here. Just hang on there, bud. What would happen? Would you happen to know a wall mount for DC Direct Batman Animated Series Batwing? Nope, I don't know anything about that. Although I thought it would be a cool idea if you went to Home Depot and you got one of those lights, those like giant round lights, LED lights, and like put it behind a Batwing so you can recreate that scene where Michael Keaton and Batman flies up to the moon for a moment and it's the bat symbol on the moon and then he falls back down. So I was thinking that would be cool if you got one of those lights and hung it on a wall and then somehow attached your Batwing to one of those lights and make for a cool display. Hope they do better than Super 7 with the G.I. Joe reaction. I ended up not picking up any of those reaction figures. They just couldn't bring myself to put a 5 points of articulation G.I. Joe with my O-rings. It just clashes styles. So I'm glad they're doing O-rings. I haven't picked any of them up yet. But G.I. Joe wasn't meant to be 5 points of articulation. Price is the same. Reason why I'm hesitant to try and collect G.I. Joe Classified. The vehicles are so expensive, not to mention a HasLab or exclusive. Yeah, it's not an all or nothing, collect them all line. It's a grab your favorites, get the special ones. I don't see how anyone can own everything in the Classified line. Like there's so much and it's so expensive. And then you get into the vehicles and they're so expensive. Loved Mask. Call from my dad about 10 years ago saying he found one of my old toys buried in the back garden. It was my original Brad Turner. This guy right here. That's cool. Hey, Eric. Good to see you. It's the man of the Isle of Man. I'd love a new M. Which had been missing since I was a kid. That's the Brad Turner. Now sits. Oh, that's so cool, man. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. Little piece of your history and the actual original one, not just like a copy. I think they should make a Cybertruck. Right on. It's got to be driven by a bad guy. Oh, come on. It's that was a tragedy. But yeah, Cybertruck, it's a crazy looking vehicle. It looks like it would fit right in with M.A.S.K. or Transformers. Greetings from Kentucky. Hello there, channel member Bing Bong Toys. Rock one of those Spectrum masks as a channel member. Oh, me too, man. Glad you could catch this. Haven't been able to do many of these lately, but thanks to everyone for coming out for this live stream. I always have to do them with no notice because it seems like every time I try to schedule something well in advance, some health stuff comes up and then I have to postpone, reschedule. But appreciate everyone who's able to just pop in short notice or no notice and just chill and chat for a while. Got a call from my dad. Yeah, I already read that one earlier. Hey, Brian, good to see you. So much nostalgia for Mask. Thanks for the live stream. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you hanging out. And I'm going to go walk my husky. But it's been nice to futz around a little bit with some vintage Mask. And it is so cool to at least know that Mask is coming back in some form. Might not be able to collect them all. Whoops. But maybe even if they just put something on the bottom for some grip, that would probably make a big difference. But it's nice. It's nice when you see a cool line with some cool characters and cool vehicles finally get brought back. So that's awesome for Mask fans. The Mask theme lives rent-free in my head forever. One of the greatest 80s cartoon theme songs of all time. Quite possibly the greatest. Yeah, I think it's better than Wheeled Warriors. I think it is. Which, incidentally, I think the same guy, was it Larry Leon who sang both of them? Mask and Wheeled Warriors? I'm not sure. Cheers for the stream. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Thanks, Gaz. Thanks for the chat. Have a great evening. Thanks you as well. And Bing Bong Toys with the Flamin' Hearts. And I'm going to throw some Spectrum masks in there. And if you want to be able to throw some Spectrum masks in the comments or in the next live stream, you can become a channel member. You can hit that join button. I think it's like $2, and you can get early access to the 360 Transformers shorts, and did some G.I. Joe shorts a while back. All sorts of other custom emojis. I love this one. Where is it? The Sly He-Man. Look, it's kind of like a wink emoji. Or I don't know, if something's so funny that you die laughing. Instead of using the skull emoji, you can use Skeletor. I love these. And you also get the badges, the rank badges. So if you see stars next to some people here, Gaz has a star. He's been there for a while. Sergeant, captain, there's all sorts of different ranks there. That's a cool little feature that YouTube has with the channel members. Stu agrees about the Visionary poems. They're beautiful. Very catchy. Thanks for the live stream. Thanks for joining. Yeah, me too. Thanks, Stephanie. Good to chat with you. Thank you for the love stream. That's what I should call these. That's a great idea. I don't do live streams. I do love streams. I love Mask. Micah, good to chat with you too. Micah's rocking all of the emojis down there. All right, off I go. Have a great night, everybody. Good night. Good luck. God bless. And Nerdmas Day.